Coffin, a terrifying mystery tale. Hidden among the northern mountains of Pakistan stood an ancient village known as Norcot. As beautiful as it was mysterious, the village attracted visitors with its green valleys, cool winds, and towering trees during the day. But when night fell, Norcot transformed into a land of fear. Before sunset, every family locked their doors. Children fell silent, women whispered prayers, and even the bravest men avoided stepping outside. The reason was a terrifying legend: the Black Coffin Bearers. The elders claimed that on the last night of every week, 4 shadowy figures emerged from the forest. Dressed entirely in black, they carried an old wooden coffin across the outskirts of the village. Anyone who saw them either lost their mind or disappeared forever. Most young people dismissed the tale as nothing more than a frightening story. One of them was a fearless and stubborn young man named Hamad. Hamad loved mysteries and never believed in supernatural legends. One evening, some of his friends returned from the city and planned a gathering at an abandoned mansion near the forest. As Hamad prepared to leave, his father stopped him. "Don't go out tonight." "Why, father?" Hamad laughed. "Is this about the black coffin again?" Fear filled his father's eyes. "If you hear heavy footsteps or strange chants, hide immediately. Never look at them. And if I do," his father lowered his voice, "then only your body will remain. Your soul will be gone." Hamad laughed off the warning and left. The night was bitterly cold. The wind howled through the trees, creating eerie sounds. To reach the mansion faster, Hamad took a shortcut through the forest. After walking for some time, the forest suddenly became unnaturally silent. Then he heard it. Thud, thud, thud. Heavy footsteps echoed through the darkness. Hamad froze. His heart began pounding violently. Then a chilling voice echoed through the woods. "Ra, Sham, Kal." A shiver raced through his body. He quickly hid behind a thick bush. Moments later, he saw them. 4 tall figures wrapped in black robes. On their shoulders rested an ancient wooden coffin. Slowly, silently, they moved through the darkness. Their eyes glowed like burning red embers. Hamad's throat went dry. Suddenly the figures stopped. Silence swallowed the forest. Hamad held his breath. A few moments later, he cautiously looked up. They were gone. Relief washed over him. "Maybe I survived." He took a single step forward. Then the voice whispered again. "Ra, Sham, Kal." This time it came from directly behind him. Terrified, Hamad turned around. The 4 figures stood only a few feet away, and the coffin on their shoulders was slowly opening by itself. A horrifying scream echoed through the forest. The next morning, the entire village was terrified. Hamad was found unconscious beneath an ancient banyan tree. His eyes were wide open. His face had turned pale with terror. When he finally regained consciousness, he repeated only one sentence: "They have returned." Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away in Karachi, a young woman named Mahin woke up screaming from a nightmare. For weeks she had been seeing the same dream: a black coffin, a blood-soaked forest, and a mysterious voice whispering, "You have returned." Mahin was a researcher fascinated by mysteries and ancient legends. Her friend Aisha often told her not to take dreams seriously, but Mahin felt there was something real behind them. One day, while studying in a university library, she discovered an old book covered with strange symbols. As she turned the pages, her eyes froze on an illustration. The same forest, the same banyan tree, the same black coffin. Below the image were the words, "Norcot, the village where death never ended." A chill ran down her spine. That night, she made a decision. She would go to Norcot. Though frightened, Aisha eventually agreed to accompany her. The next morning, they began their journey. As their bus approached Norcott, dark clouds gathered overhead. The weather became increasingly violent. When they finally arrived at the village entrance, a powerful wind swept through the streets. The villagers stared at them strangely. It felt as though their arrival signaled some approaching disaster. An elderly village leader named Sardar Karim offered them a place to stay. But the moment he saw Mahin's face, his expression changed. "Impossible," he whispered. "What happened?" Mahin asked, but he refused to answer. That night, Mahin could not sleep. The wind rattled the windows. Suddenly, she heard footsteps outside her room. Thud, thud, thud. Then came the familiar voice. Ra, Sham, Kal. Her heart pounded. Slowly, she approached the door. It opened on its own. No one was there, only darkness, and distant footsteps leading toward the forest. The following day, Mahin questioned the villagers about the black coffin. Everyone avoided the topic. Finally, an elderly woman agreed to tell the truth. 400 years ago, Norcott was ruled by King Zawar. Obsessed with immortality, he sought forbidden powers. A dark sorcerer introduced him to an ancient ritual that promised eternal life, but the ritual required innocent human sacrifices. Consumed by greed, Zawar began the ceremony. Then something went terribly wrong. A massive fire engulfed the castle. People died. Chaos spread everywhere, and King Zawar, along with his 4 loyal warriors, became trapped inside a black coffin. The old woman trembled as she spoke. People say they still live, but no longer as human beings. Aisha turned pale. "Mahin, we need to leave." But Mahin's eyes remained fixed on the forest. Something was calling her. That night, Mahin experienced another vision. She found herself standing inside a burning palace. Flames surrounded her. People screamed. Then she saw a man, black robes, glowing red eyes, a terrifying smile. He approached her and whispered, "You have returned, Queen Azel." Mahin woke up screaming. The next morning, she told Aisha everything. "These aren't dreams," she said. "I have a connection to all of this." "What do we do now?" Aisha asked nervously. "We have to find the old castle." As evening approached, they entered the forest. The woods felt darker than before. Strange whispers drifted through the trees. After a long walk, they discovered the ruins of an ancient fortress. The moment Mahin stepped inside, a sharp pain exploded in her head. Suddenly, visions flooded her mind. She saw herself in the same castle. 4 centuries earlier, she was a queen, Queen Azel, and King Zawar loved her. But when she learned about his dark rituals and attempted to stop him, he murdered her. With her dying breath, she cursed him. "You will never know peace." Mahin's eyes opened. Tears streamed down her face. "I am Azel." At that very moment, heavy footsteps echoed through the ruins. Thud, thud, thud. 4 shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, the black coffin bearers. Behind them appeared a tall figure, a man with glowing red eyes. King Zawar. 400 years, he said softly. "I have waited for you." "Zawar," Mahin whispered. A sinister smile spread across his face. "Tonight, our ritual will finally be completed." Suddenly, the entire castle began shaking. Blood trickled from the walls. The black coffin slowly opened. Inside was nothing but endless darkness. "If you enter the coffin with me," Zawar said, "we will live forever." An invisible force began pulling Mahin toward it. Then she remembered something her mother once told her. Never make peace with darkness. At that moment, she noticed an ancient dagger hanging from a nearby wall. Instantly, forgotten memories returned. There was only one way to destroy Zawar, the dagger. Mahin grabbed it. Zawar rushed toward her. "You cannot escape me." His hand closed around her throat. She struggled for breath, her vision blurred, but with the last of her strength, she drove the dagger deep into his chest. A horrifying scream shook the castle. The 4 coffin bearers burst into flames. The ground trembled violently. The walls began collapsing. "Run!" Aisha screamed. The 2 women sprinted out of the ruins. Seconds later, the entire fortress sank into the earth. Then, everything became silent. The wind stopped. For the first time in centuries, sunlight seemed to bless Norcott once again. The next morning, the villagers gathered in amazement. The fear that had haunted them for generations was gone. Sardar Karim looked at Mahin and smiled. "You have freed Norcott." Mahin gazed silently toward the sky. Somewhere, she felt, a restless soul had finally found peace. But the story was not over, because that very night, beneath the ruins, inside the buried black coffin, a single finger slowly moved.